Hello, everybody. It's me, M, and this is the long awaited part three and finale of the cat tree refurbishing project, which I started and which I last posted an update on August 13th. So it has been 3 weeks and 2 days since I updated you about this project. Um, and at that time, I was struggling because the stapler was very difficult for my hands to use. And in fact, the crazy thing is, one of the reasons among several why I have not updated you is because I only just tonight finished the project. But I did do steps in between. But speaking of my hands, what happened is I got a really bad, like I'm pretty sure allergic reaction to a new laundry detergent that I tried because it was the only thing that happened like sort of differently right around that time. But then again, who knows? We never know for sure. It's always kind of a guess when you're trying to figure out what you're allergic to. Um, Boom. Science Minute with M, because that's actually not true. I think that people can figure out what they're actually allergic. In fact, I have some allergies that are scientific doctor like approved. I don't know what I'm talking about. Look, listen, I have had this like itchy arm problem like for since August 20th. So since 1 week after this last update of the project. And so that was 1 week later, and that was probably about the first or maybe second day that I had started to experience the itchiness, and it hasn't gone away, and it's actually been getting worse, and my skin looks terrible. It looks so scary. It's like this is like when I was raised like so religious, like one of the things that I was really afraid of as a kid was leprosy, because like there was a big deal about that in a lot of Bible stories, and it was like a deep-seated fear that I had that like people would see my skin and be like unclean, unclean, and like I think that's still some of the reason why I like have struggles with my feelings about my skin, because like that was literally like put on some like sinfulness, like it was like, oh, you would get the leprosy because like you were a bad person or something. But then sort of Jesus was like, nah, like that's not their fault, it's just whatever. But then just like everything else with Jesus, people take whatever to be what they want. So the kitty's like, you should stop talking about Jesus stuff and talk about this project, which you have a lot of information to add about. And I think that's true. But I just wanted to explain a little bit about what's been going on. I've been having some both physical and emotional health slash mental health issues. I'm not gonna lie. I, I feel like, I don't know. It's like oversharing is like so cringe, but then like if nobody ever says like what's really going on with them, then like isn't that also cringe though? Because like everybody's like floundering because things are the 1920s, but it's the 2020s, but it's scary because everybody knows what see, even the cat is scared of the 20s because she knows that it leads to the 30s and then the 40s, and those aren't fun. Those aren't fun. Nobody was having fun at those times. If they said they were, they're a lie. Anyways, so I don't know. I've been struggling, but every day I'm struggling. Every that's what I've heard in my head ever since that bit came out from Cat Williams. R.I.P. Cat Williams? No, JK. He's a living man. He's a living man. Oh, the cat's messing up my props I set up for the video. Kitty, no. All right, I'm gonna pause. It's a theme in my videos, this cat. She wreaks havoc. But then we'll get back to the project and it won't be my face. It's just going to be the project. So hang on. Okay, so here we go before things get too chaotic. To explain again about the staple gun. This is the staple gun that my friend Vincent, who has a channel where you can see some of the glass work that he's done. He blows glass. He's an amazing artist. Um, Kitty, no. Kitty, hang on. No, Kitty. No, Kitty, no. Kitty, Kitty, no. Um, but so this is a working man's staple gun. Like it is a heavy duty Stanley boy, and it is solid metal. Like it's all metal, and to squeeze this guy is like it takes both my hands like inside of the gripper, and a lot of times it just bounces away. So I was getting really stressed out, and like I say, my hands were hurt, and if you see my hands here, you'll see what I was talking about with my hands. But so this was working, but it wasn't. So anyways, I was very appreciative, but I was only able to achieve the bottom rung, the middle pole, the second rung, and that's basically it. Oh, here she goes again. This is, I may have to pause again. Kitty, no, these are not your toys right now. And so then I had to pause because my hands were hurting. So what I did was, from Amazon, I got this guy, which is Shell brand. It's a plastic body. As you can see, the size differential here. I mean, it's quite a substantial difference. However, the nice thing is that honestly, when I put my hand up against Vince's hand, that was the size differential between my hand and his. So it makes sense. And this one, because of having the smaller thing, I can get a lot more like power with it because I can squeeze my hand tighter with it and I can lean on top of it, which is what you really need to be able to do. Kitty, I'm watching you. I'm watching you, Kitty. Kitty, I'm watching you. So then I was able to very quickly achieve the other parts of the stapling job. So then what I was realizing is that her little bucket, this part right here, the bucket that she like lays in, is also made of the same fuzzy stuff that I was trying to cover up with all this other material. So I was like, okay, so what I did was I took a whole bunch of this material that I used on the poles from the t-shirt, and I took a big, huge, like sort of oblong square of it, or like not oblong square, that doesn't make sense, like a big oval sort of. And then I took the remaining the waistband of the here she goes, the waistband of the leggings, and I cut it into two pieces, like the front and the back, and then I cut each of those into two pieces, so I had like, I don't know, 4 big pieces or whatever, or like 2 half round ones and then the couple short ones for the oblong tip. Whatever I did, I can't even remember now. And so then I sewed those together to form like something to use as a basket liner, because honestly, that red fuzzy stuff that the liner there that the basket is made of, there's an inside layer of black. She jumped over there. That's good. That's better for the video. This video is chaotic as everything else is. We live in a chaotic universe. That's Ricky Tikki. Ricky Tikki Tabby. So, basically, the inside of this bucket thing is just the same fuzzy stuff. It's the black stuff. And then red stuff is the same fuzzy stuff. It's very like thin, like I say, it was falling off. That's why I needed to cover it, because it shreds. And so I looked in the bucket, and that's when I realized I needed this bucket liner, because she um, is going to come through it, because she had already done a lot of damage to the inside black part. So I made the liner. So I have had the liner in my possession. Like, I finished sewing that together like a couple weeks ago. But then I was like needing to sew it onto the actual basket rim. And the only way to do it without taking the entire cat tree down from how it is, and like taking that off there and bringing it down and sewing it at ground level, would be to stand on my handy dandy weird pink half triangular weird space age Los Angeles fancy, but I bought it in San Diego right before I moved to Los Angeles, because I was like, this is more Los Angeles-y thing, and stand up there. So I kept putting it off, because I have a great deal of trepidation about being up on heights. My knees get really wobbly, even if it's only this much height, which this thing is like about a 1 foot tall, and it's quite wide base, and so it's like sturdy to stand on, but it doesn't really matter how sturdy the thing is, or even how short the step is up. I just can't deal. Like, I start freaking out, and I get all warbly, and so I was like, oh, yeah. So I spent a lot of time trying to think about what the materials I would use. So first of all, I got into my scrap bin, and I picked this gold cord, because I thought, fancy. But for backup, I got into the Ribbon Nation. Shout out Ms. Janet Jackson. Her first name ain't Baby. It's Janet. Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. But this is the Ribbon Nation, and in retrospect, the only ribbon that I had in my current possession, because I need to re-up on ribbon, is that's skinny enough, is this pink, which wouldn't really go, but seemed like it would be easier to thread. So I tried to thread this boy onto one of my heavy duty needles. Heavy duty needles. These are my fat boys. They are for like when you really need to like go through like denim or something. Where do they come from? My sewing kit. This is my sewing basket. Obviously, I have various pins and needles. Pins and needles. Pins and needles. I'm not singing that song right, either version of it. Tape measures, little teensy eensy scissors, and whatnots. Kitty kitty, you're okay. She's mad because I won't let her play with this stuff. Also, this cute little girl lives in there, and she is a secret. Dun, 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 dun. You open her up, and she is a tiny sewing kit. She has a little scissor and this little thing that has like certain cord, and then wrapped up in that, get it in the light, wrapped up underneath, rolled underneath those threads, is the needles. There's like 2 needles in there. This was given to me by my very good friend Carrie, aka Carolyn Sprague, in Alaska in Christmas of, I believe, 1996. And I used it as a Christmas ornament for a long time. But then I was like, I'd like to see her more often. So now she is in the sewing kit. Okay, the cat has decided to use the litter box now, so I'm going to pause the video. Okay, she's done. So also in the sewing kit is the strawberry pin cushion. And this, as you can see, is a comparison of the two different needles. Kitty, you're fine. Stop. Yeah, you can see what a huge boy that is, because this one that you see right here is also one of the heavy duties. Like, this isn't even just your normal size needle, but then compared to that guy, oh my god. So at first I tried to thread this gold one onto the fat boy, but it's too wide, and it also frays very easily because the like gold stuff peels away, because it's kind of just twined around a base string or like elastic. So despite all efforts, I could not make this one work. So we went to plan B, which I was able to thread. However, when I went to try to sew with it, what I found is that this needle tip does not make, and even this end of the needle doesn't really make a wide enough sort of like hole in the fabric to pull that wide of a ribbon through there, because it would just get to the edge of the fabric and I would just pull and pull, and it could not pull this through. And if I did pull it through, I was probably going to be making too big of a hole in there that this ribbon really wouldn't be strong enough to help avert crisis if the cat, you know, if it was too heavy and not strong enough. So I was like, nah. And plus, I really didn't want to use pink when this whole thing is like red and gray and black. But you know, necessity is the mother of doing it just to get it done. But then in the end, I think it worked out perfectly, because I went into my little baggie full of thread, and I found these two reds, which really are perfect with the thing, even though you honestly don't really see the threads, but I do like it when things go like that. So as you can see, both of these were brand new guys that I had never actually used before, but now doing this project, I basically went through almost this whole guy. But these aren't really huge. I mean, these are like from RIP, excuse me, RIP, the 99 cents only store. These are from a sewing kit that came from the 99 cents only store and had like 12 spools and some needles and other tools in it. So, and it was for like 99 cents. And so that, I mean, obviously these are not really thick. You can tell they're not really thick spools, because on a thicker spool, it's kind of, you wouldn't see so much rim under there on a brand new spool. It's kind of a fatty, but not these. But that's fine, because I mean, it doesn't matter how much or how little is on there as long as there's enough for the project. And there certainly was. So those are going back in there. I'm done with all this, so I should probably get it out of the way of the cat now, so I can proceed to show you the final part. I'm just throwing this together for right now because she's a crazy person. And now we shall climb up on you. Oh, hello, Lily Marlene. She's named after a World War II song. Yeah, Lily Marlene. It was a huge hit for the soldiers on both sides of the battlefield because of its wistful nature. At least that's the lore around it. I don't remember either of my World War II soldier grandfathers speaking about it. However, I don't remember them really speaking about the war at all. So, there's always that. These videos always start as one thing, don't they? La da 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 da, la da 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 da, La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da da da. La da da da. It's you, Lily Marlene. It's you, Lily Marlene. Okay, so back to Salvador Dali, the cat, which, by the way, the reason she is so named is obviously because of her bum ba da dum bum 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 mustache. Okay, this video is chaos. All is chaos. Don't give up hope in the face of it. Okay, see, look, I even get like out of breath just try to climb up because I get like nerved up. But so, as you can see, I sewed these legging waistbands around this t-shirt chunk, and then that all I did already before. Now then what I did is oh yeah, you can see sort of some of the red thread right here, but I did the red thread all around because this is a metal rim. Oh yeah, I guess you can kind of see quite a bit of it, but it doesn't look bad. I always try to be neat with my stitches because that's how I was shown to sew by Mrs. Christine Anderson, as well as my grandmother, Audrey Grace. So I went up as far as I could, but see, this rim, as you can see, there's that red fuzzy stuff. It is around this pole, and it already is like as part of the whole construction. So that's what I meant about having to take the whole thing apart to take this off. So I didn't. So I used my brand new stapler, my handy dandy, easy to use with small carnival folk hands, I guess, or Welshman hands, to staple these parts. And that was good because it kind of covered some of the fuzz. And then this kind of just with the staples makes a little pouch, I guess, or whatever. But it gives some give for covering over this. And I feel a lot more solid about it with this nice t-shirt. Because it was a nice t-shirt that it was. The only reason why I cut that t-shirt up was because it was a solid color and only one little design in the top middle. And, of course, I got a stain on the lower body. And so it was always, like, embarrassing to wear, and I just use it for a nightgown a lot, or like a nightshirt. So I ended up eventually cutting the design part off of it, which, uh-oh, I left some thread there. That's fine. It's not gonna hurt anything. I cut the part with the design that I wanted from it off, which was a special. I had ordered that special from a fundraiser from Wink Martindale for his children's charity that he runs or ran at the time, years ago. Wink Martindale, famous DJ, personality, game show host, entertainer, a very nice and happy person. So now this is in here so far because I immediately started making this video. Miss Kitty has not went in it yet, but I feel like it is much better now, and it's nice because the way that it was with that oval, it allowed me to do some overlapping, as you see right here, where I like flapped a part over. I did that a few times, and so it has like a cute like gathering, which I think is like a good presentation or whatever, because it ends up making the outside of the basket look even like cuter than before, because it has this little matching rim to the rest, because none of the rest of the entire thing was a red fuzzy part. Like the whole entire rest of it was like just black fuzz, or, well, I guess no, there was red fuzz. I take that back. There was red fuzz in the front. But see how much fuzz comes off? I mean, some of it's her hair, but a lot is fuzz. Like, look at this. So I think having this rim on there will also keep that from coming out as much too, just as it has been doing on this. Because honestly, my floors, like, as you can even see, like, The floors are like so much less filled with that stuff now, and it's so better. So, that is the final piece to this saga. I really, once again, want to thank you for the attention, if or when you've given it, now or in the future, because time is not real, so there is no such thing. But this is the cat tree. Originally the Gothic cat tree, now more of a Nordic style. Open Nordic style. Wouldn't it be funny if there was a Gangnam style, but it was Nordic? Get on that, people from Norway? Is Nordic all of the places that are in like Scandinavia, or is it literally just Norwegian? I am not a smart man. On that note, I leave you, and to the princess, I say, I hope that you appreciate the intense effort that has gone into this, but whether you do or you don't, it's totally fine. I accept you as you are. I accept you as you are. Okay. Bye, everybody. Goodbye.